So almost 4,500 yards is not. You can't compare. You can't compare.
How long was his career?
Okay, but what does that have to do with anything? How many great quarterbacks have run for 4,500 yards in a career? Think about that. I mean, I'm not saying he was with what dual threat is now.
That's
but
what
I'm saying
now,
for his era,
all right,
he was considered that dual threat.
Let's bring in our next guest, see what he thinks on this one. He is the one and only Michael Anthony Quick, Eagles color analyst, does an extraordinary job with Merrill Reese on the team's broadcast, 94 WIP. What's up, Q?
Hey, Rob, how you doing? I love spirited debates.
Thank you.
Well, Mike, this basically was born out of like maybe the national folks aren't giving Hurts quite the love, and is some of it that they view him, this is their view, not mine, as this dual guy who maybe still aren't convinced that he's the passer yet. Do you think there's a little bit of that that's still happening? And is there still those old stereotypes that are hanging around and those kind of things? Like, how do you view it?
Well, I just think that people are going to be that way. And even, it doesn't matter how much he does. They're going to still there'll still be people that will say that something's not right. There's still going to be people that are going to deny him who he is. But to me, right now he's playing the quarterback position better than any other quarterback in the National Football League. Okay, I'm a little bit biased because I'm here in Philadelphia area, and I watch every snap that he plays. I don't watch every snap that any of the other guys play. Mahomes, I probably watch most of his. The kid in Buffalo, I probably watch most of his, but I don't watch everybody in every snap. To me, it's hard to play the position better than Jalen Hurts is playing. They ask him to do a lot of things, and he does all of these things extremely well.
Let me just follow up on that, Mike. It'd be one thing if he was doing this sort of like Justin Fields is, where you're just taking off constantly. And no disrespect to him. I don't think he has weapons and he's still learning the game and all that. We'll see him this week. Hurts is throwing the ball at a remarkable, he's completing 68%. He's got a 108 passer rating. He doesn't turn the ball over. All of those metrics are there.
All of the stuff that will make you a great quarterback, all of those numbers are there. Rob, so everyone talked about, well, he'll never be a pocket passer. Well, from the pocket this season, his completion percentage is over 70%. That from the pocket, his completion percentage is over 70%. So now they have all these other ingredients where you have the RPO game. You have all of these runs and the run options and all the things that they're able to do. It's really a problem and a headache for any defensive coordinator that this team is going up against, because you just don't know where to try and stop it. If you try and stop it with loading up the box, then you've got the receivers that are going to just tear you up in the passing game. And we saw that on Sunday. If you try and back up the defense to try and take away the passing game, well, then they're going to run the football. They got one of the best offensive lines in football. And some of the stuff that they're doing, it's just ahead of where everyone else is defensively in the league. I had a conversation with Carl Banks on Sunday up at the Meadowlands before the game. And Carl Banks said to me, "Quick, it's ridiculous how good this football team is that you guys have." He says, it doesn't even make sense. He said, it's almost like you should be allowed to play 12 men on defense so that you can slow down this offense, because you have a quarterback that can do all the things that Hurts does. And I completely agree.
Hey, Mike, let me ask you this real quick, because as we wind down this season, one of the hot topics to debate is who is the MVP. Now, we agree in unison that based on numbers, performance, it's Jalen Hurts. But I brought up a counter to that yesterday.
Yeah.
You go back to last year. Tom Brady across the board, number one attempts, passing yards, touchdowns. Aaron Rodgers finished 12th in passing, yet Aaron Rodgers wins the MVP, and both teams had identical 13-4 records. And I've said, because there's this wow factor still with Patrick Mahomes,
yes,
that Patrick Mahomes is, I still think this award is based more on a popularity contest than it is based on overall performance. And I would not be shocked, because a prime example, just this past Sunday, Patrick Mahomes, one play, wheels out of trouble, running down the sideline, throws a dart underhand to a guy, touchdown. Another play, does a 360 spin, turns around, over the middle, touchdown. People are more wild by those antics, than they are overall numbers. And I said I wouldn't be surprised if Mahomes wins the MVP because everybody's enamored with the magician that Patrick Mahomes is.
Can I just tell you this? I'll go back, and it takes us back a lot of years, but I went to the Pro Bowl 5 consecutive times. That 5th time that I went to the Pro Bowl, I probably shouldn't have been voted to the Pro Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
It was off the reputation that I had garnered the previous 4 years as better receivers in the league. So my numbers were decent that 5th year that I went, but there were guys around the league that I thought were more deserving of that spot on the roster of the Pro Bowl the 5th year that I went to the Pro Bowl. You're exactly right, D-Gun. There's a reputation factor to all of these things.
Mm-hmm.
If Patrick Mahomes is winning at the clip that the Eagles are winning, or if his numbers are somewhere near, even if Jalen is more valuable to his team, then more than likely Mahomes is going to get the nod based on the reputation that he comes in with.
Mm-hmm.
I look at this the entirety of the offense, the entirety of the defense, and the entirety of the special teams.
Yeah.
Offense and defense, we have enough to win a Super Bowl. Is special teams now getting at a level that, it won't be on our Achilles heel, it won't hurt us? And, at any point, do you think this will be a weapon for us?
Well, B, I just believe that if your special teams don't lose games for you, as long as your offense and defense are strong enough, you're going to be okay. So special teams today are not what they were when you had special teams really making the difference. And many guys, you don't see many punt returns for touchdowns like we have years gone by.
You're right about that.
And we definitely don't see kickoffs because we don't see that many kickoffs that are even bought back. Unless strategically kicking the ball so that you have to bring it back because they know they have the coverage units that are not going to allow you to get even to the 20-yard line. So as much as special teams are important, and we know that that's one phase or 1/3 of the game, I don't think it has the same significance that it's had in the past just because of rules changes and really just the way the game is now. We just don't see it. We don't see the what was the guy named Devin Hester type of guys in
Chicago.
There's no one in the league like that where they're going to have
Joshua Cribbs.
Right, Cribbs. We're not going to have anyone with nearly double-digit returns for touchdowns, and I don't know if we're ever going to see that again.
Mike, I want to go back to the innovation part of the offense. I mean, it's unbelievable what Hurts is doing executing, but you're right. They seem to be a step ahead of what everybody else is doing now. They're able to incorporate him and play to his strengths, utilize those receivers. Look, it helps when you have great players, but
yes,
every phase is clicking here. The running game with Sanders is nasty. You can beat teams. Anything they want to try to take away, you can just counter with. Just tell us about the job that Sirianni and Steichen are doing here.
Well, it's pretty amazing, quite honestly. I'm sitting and I'm watching all the variety that they're hitting the Giants with in that game, and I was just thinking, man, Shane Steichen, wow, look at the job that he's doing. And this guy, the defensive coordinator, Wink Martindale for the Giants, he doesn't know what to do. So when early in the game, when they tried to press him, tried to blitz him, they were beating the blitz. Eagles beat him on the blitz, beat him on the blitz.
Check downs.
Then what do? You try and back up and play a little more zone, and they run the ball down your throat. So it's the type of offense that they can make adjustments. They can make you make adjustments, and whatever you do, the answer is you're incorrect. You're wrong. It's that type of offense.
Mike, can you talk about how Miles Sanders has emerged this year better than ever in terms of being more patient behind the line of scrimmage, waiting for the hole to come to him, blocking ability, and not just going down an initial contact now, churning the legs, picking up those extra 2 and 3 yards, and about how he's played with that proverbial chip on his shoulder all season?
No, I love the way he's playing, and he's definitely playing his best football. The numbers bear it out, but if you just watch him from week to week, D-Gun, no one's talking much about this, but he had 2 or 3 blocks in that game.
Mhm.
Yes.
Crucial blocks on linebackers, on guys that were getting too close to his quarterback, and he's protective of his quarterback, so he's throwing his body in there to make sure that he shields his quarterback. You know, that type of stuff from Miles is what really like gets me going when I see him do things like that. They were able to attack the Giants primarily on the perimeter in the run game because they're so athletic at the offensive line. You know, pull the offside guard or offside tackle and let them kick out. And then they've got a tight end that's leading through the gaps on those runs. Dude, this stuff is just so hard to stop. Oh, Barrett, you know how hard. Listen, this stuff is just so hard for anyone to stop. And regardless of what you do, because they have these options in their offense, they can prove you wrong on whatever you try and do defensively. And that's just where they are right now.
No question, man. I mean, just like you were talking about, they ran just simple old power.
Over and over.
Over and over.
And pulled the backside guard up through the hole, kicked it out, and then you have Calcaterra, who I didn't know could block, pulling his fullback, leading up in the hole, kicking people out, and they had over 156 yards on running plays in which the back or quarterback, whoever was running the ball, did not get touched.
Yeah,
did not get touched. Over 150 yards before the running back or quarterback or wherever didn't get touched. Before somebody touched it, they had over 150 yards. That's, to me, that's incredible from a running standpoint. But it just goes to show how good this offensive line is, and where they belong as far as ranked as far as in the NFL. They allow them to do whatever they want to do from any system because those guys are so good up front.
And B, when you have a quarterback, he goes to the line of scrimmage and he's got a play, and he sees, oh, this is not the right play call for where we're set up. And he's able to redirect what they're doing.
Absolutely.
Fine. And he's able to redirect the call and get this team into the correct call so that they have success. He's on a different level. And he's, it's not by chance. It's not a serendipitous thing. He puts the time in. He spends the time. He gets into the film room. He gets into the meeting room with the coaches. When everybody else is having a day off, he's spending time with the coaches so that the game plan is what it is from week to week.
Mike, you had that little mini, I'm being real nitpicky here with a 12-1 team, but a little bit of a lull, right? They survived the Houston game, the Washington loss, the Colts game. Maybe it wasn't their sharpest efforts there. And you thought, did they peak early? And is this kind of heading the wrong way? But man, I mean, they flipped it after that in a big way. So what do you attribute that? Was it just the ebbs and flows of a season sometimes where you're going to have a little bit of a dip? And does some of it coincide with getting Sue and Joseph? I mean, it just seems like they're playing unbelievable since that little stretch where they weren't maybe on their A game.
Well, Sue and Joseph didn't have much to do with the offensive side of the ball. And you look at the points that they've scored over the past 3 weeks. It's just, it's mind-boggling. I do believe that is part of the ebbs and flows of the season. It's so hard. This game takes so much out of you from week to week. And the toughest thing for me, I think, when I'm watching this, how do you get up for another game in
We lose Mike? Oh, we lost Mike for a second. We'll see if Xander, let me know when we get him back up. I think we have him. Actually, he's back. All right, we got you back, Mike. We got you back, but you're muted. If that makes sense? All right, Xander, let's put him on hold. Let's get his audio straightened out. You give me the high sign, Xander, when he's good to go audio wise. But I was bated breath, man, waiting for the answer for that. That's how it always happens. Man. It's like, all right. But we'll get Mike back up there. Good insight from Mike, as always, on both sides of the ball. But they did, guys. They had that little moment where you're like, have they peaked? And then they didn't peak. That's for sure. But, yeah, especially on the offensive side, as Mike points out, last 3 games, they've gone 40, 35, 48 in their last 3 games. Yeah, pretty crazy. I think, do we have him back? We got him back. All right, Q, we got you back, man.
Oh, hey.
Hi.
There you are.
Yes.
Oh,
So no, I was talking about the ebbs and flows of the season.
Yeah.
And I just believe that the most difficult thing when you completely wrench your emotions, physically wrench yourself throughout a football game, it just takes so much out of you. And to be able to week get up to the level that you need to get up to beat, it's to me the toughest thing to do in the National Football League. That's probably not talked about nearly as much as it should be, because I just think it's hard to get up for every game and to get your body and get your mind to the shape that you need to beat teams week in and week out. So there are some weeks that you're just not at your best. I just completely believe that. And I know because I was there for a lot of years.
Right.
hey, Mike, outside of Jalen Hurts, give me your MVP of this Eagles team.
Ooh.
Wow. Gosh. Ooh, that's really good, D.
That's a tough one, man.
D, that's really good. So, wow.
I like the hesitation in his voice. You know why? Because there's so many options to choose from.
Right. It's a great problem.
So there are a lot
Mike's thinking about it this much is great.
And there are so many options. But what's crazy is I'm not just thinking about the guys in the helmets. I'm thinking about Brian Johnson, who guy who's in, Brian Johnson has done so much with Jalen Hurts in getting him prepared. Shane Steichen, as much as people beat up Jonathan Gannon, like and then I think about the guys in the helmets and, Kelsey and what he does. Lane Johnson, there's nobody better at right tackle in the National Football League in my mind than Lane Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
Lane Johnson was crushing guys on Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? He does it each and every week. He's crushing people.
26 games, Mike, without allowing a sack.
TJ Edwards has played some of the best football I've seen a linebacker play.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying. They said the guy wasn't fast enough. He went undrafted. But I tell you what, he's so smart. He's such a student that whatever teams are doing, he understands it based on down distance, formations, all of the things that he has in his computer. And so he's a step ahead because he's such a student. He's such a smart, heady football player. There's so many guys that, Jalen, that you think about that has helped this team to get to where they are.
Mike, I got to ask you about the Cowboys. I know it's 2 weeks away. We can do it. The team can't do it, right? Yeah, that team, unfortunately. From what you've seen from them, and obviously I know you get a much closer eye on the Birds, but you played them up close and personal. It was a different situation, no Cooper Rush, et cetera. But
yeah,
how tough's this game going to be Christmas Eve?
Hopefully the Eagles have already clinched and have Bill. Because, probably not because the Cowboys. Yes, they're a good football team. They should have lost on Sunday. The Texans game one, and Texans, let them drive the length of the field, and even got the interception. They should have scored. It should have been an easy score.
Yep.
Bad play calling, bad decision making. The Texans should have beaten them. Dallas is a very good football team. I think they're lacking another stud receiver. That's one area that, if you handle CeeDee Lamb in the passing game, you hurt their passing game. I think Tony Pollard is just way better right now than Zeke is because he's so explosive.
Yep.
They've got a good offensive line. That's a good football team, and certainly the best team that the Eagles are going to face until they get into the postseason. So I don't think for granted when it comes to Dallas. Their defense is really good. They've got some studs on their defense. Micah Parsons, everyone knows that he's one of the best defenders in the National Football League, and they're smart. Dan Quinn and the way he uses Micah Parsons, it's just smart football. that's a good football team, and that's going to be a good matchup. So hopefully the game does mean something, because I would like to see this team go against them and both at their best.
Hmm.
Because I really believe that this is a better football team.
Mhm.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mhm.
I think the same thing, but just from a coaching standpoint, you see Nick Sirianni is the best coach in the NFL right now. He should be put up there as for one of the best.
I think it's a conversation that should be regularly around the National Football League. When you talk about who's the coach of the year, why wouldn't his name be in the top? There has to be a short list with his name on it.
Mm-hmm.
We don't hear about it outside of our fishbowl, though. Nobody talks about how good of a coach he is.
I think they're starting to talk about him. They talk about how crazy he is on the sideline. That's for
right.
Sure. But I think more and more, because when I listen to guys, when I'm talking to guys, that there is conversation about Nick Sirianni, not necessarily as the best coach in the league, but just conversation about Nick and what he's done with this football team, the culture, the way that they, as he says, as he connects with his players, and like when you watch these guys, they seem to have so much fun and so much of that camaraderie that you like to see with good teams. And I give Nick Sirianni the credit for that. And a lot of the things that they're doing, the discipline that they have in many areas, I give Nick Sirianni a lot of credit for that. And the coaching staff that he put together and he oversees on a day-to-day basis.
Hey, Mike, I brought this up on the show yesterday, and I've been here over 25 years. You've been here a lot longer than I have. And even to this date, it has still just perplexed me why media and fan bases outside of Philadelphia, year in and year out, just refuse to give the Eagles their just due in a lot of areas. I mean,
yeah.
Even when you look at the national shows, they talk more about Kansas City and Dallas and San Francisco and Buffalo more so than the Eagles. Give me your perspective on why do you think people on the outside looking in have this disdain for Philadelphia?
They're haters.
Enough said. Drop the mic. Yeah.
Oh, man.
I can give you a long, drawn-out explanation. Bottom line, they're haters.
Well said. Well said. Mike, looking forward to it. Chicago this week.
Man.
You get to go down there, the scene of the Fog Bowl 100 years ago. But go back to Chicago, see if the Eagles keep it rolling. And then, of course, after that, man, it's Christmas Eve against the Cowboys. What a ride it's been, man. And it is a pleasure to listen to you and Merrill week in and week out. Man.
Absolutely.
Keep up the good work. We appreciate it.
You guys do a great job. I get to tune in many times, go on YouTube and check you out, some of the guests that you have and some of your past shows. You guys do a great job, and thanks for having me on today.
Mike,
Thank
thanks,
you, Mike.
man. Have a great rest of your day. Appreciate
Yeah.
a couple minutes. The always informative and fun to talk to, Mike Quick. He's the best. He's the best. All right. We'll get a quickie in here, guys, and we'll come back. We'll put a little bow on the Eagles. So we're going to have our NFL segment coming up at 2:00. We'll mix in a little Sixers playing tonight as well. So we got a lot more in store. Don't go anywhere. It was a lot of fun with Mike. And by the way, if you missed any of it, just go to jakibsports.com or go to JAKIB Sports YouTube channel. You can catch the entirety of the interview and all of the shows that we do. They're all there. That's the beauty of what we do here. All right, quick timeout. We'll come right back. We'll continue with all the fun and games. We are Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. I want to tell you about Flynn Tree Services. Yes, Flynn Tree Services is an experienced, licensed, and insured Pennsylvania tree services company that will trim or remove any unwanted trees off of your property. They offer cost-effective solutions to any tree problem that you may face. And by the way, they're just a quick phone call away. They're experts at trimming all types of trees, and they service southeastern Pennsylvania, South Jersey, and northern Delaware. Flynn Tree Services specializes in tree removal, stump grinding, as well as tree pruning. Keep in mind, we're in that time of year now, right? Some nasty winds, it's getting cold, hurricane season. It's a good time to have your trees evaluated before you have a bigger problem on your hands. Go to their Facebook or Instagram page for a sampling of their work or more information. Give Flynn Tree Services a call at 610-850-2848, 610-850-2848, or online at flynntreeservices.com. That's Flynn treeservices.com.
Post-game show with Seth Joyner,
I knew that they had a running game.
Derek Gunn,
He has put in the effort.
Devin Caney,
Had we not won the Super Bowl, what would we be saying?
and Mike Missinelli.
Well, you know who Philly is.
Post-game, now streaming on the 6ABC family of apps.